Alright, here we go. In this route, this is a 16-minute, 2.9 mile route. We're going to take it across uptown Manhattan, across the park, on a pretty standard route. Now, I understand there's been some conversation about how far away full self-driving is from true fully autonomous. My assessment of that, driving a lot of these Manhattan routes, is that it's not close to ready for Manhattan. Now, there are too many edge cases. You can watch some of the other videos to understand what those edge cases are. But those edge cases, when you're looking at an average drive, and we're taking one of these average drives, but I would give this one, in terms of degree of difficulty, a low in Manhattan. And when I say easy, as it's trying to make the right turn here, as when I say easy in terms of a degree of difficulty of a route in Manhattan, I mean that edge cases are unlikely to occur on this route because the traffic is light. It's an uptown route, not a midtown or downtown route. Edge cases are much less likely to occur. And also the weather is not really terrible. But in medium and high degree of difficulty routes, edge cases happen at least once, if not multiple times per trip. And these are these typical 20-25 minute 2 to 3 mile trips you would take in the city. Edge cases happen constantly, and it just seems like FSD it doesn't quite understand how to handle all these edge cases smoothly yet. And worse yet, some of these edge cases could have easily resulted in an accident, a collision, putting a person in danger. Now, again, watch some of my other videos to see what those examples are in real time. But looking back on those, it's still just simply unacceptable, right? You can't have FSD running a red light. You can't have FSD not yielding to a merging vehicle that is clearly not trying to give you space. You should be more defensive. You should definitely not be reacting so slowly, almost to the point where I'm questioning if it will collide with an old lady stepping out of a vehicle just because it's in the lane of traffic. And that's just how much space there is available in the city. So yes, until you can deal with all these edge cases, I don't know that I would say it's even close to being ready. Which is a crazy thing to talk about, because version 12 compared to version 11 was light years ahead. In terms of version 12, it feels like clearly, like when I turn it on and I let it drive, I feel more relaxed. Whereas in version 11, when I turn on version 11, my anxiety goes up, my blood pressure goes up. I'm waiting for it to just make a dumb move, block traffic, or just get confused. And version 12 is completely different. I can sit back most of the time 90-95% of the time and just zone out. This is incredible, by the way, at least for driving a degree of difficulty here. Now, I think it's important to keep this all in perspective, the degree at which full self-driving is getting better, the speed or the trajectory of which it's getting better, which is why I feel like even though, yeah, these are some scary moves and mistakes that FSD is making now, but if it's really getting better this quickly, what will version 13 look like? So I'm going to put that in terms of numbers here to really give you a sense of the trajectory from version 11 to 12, and then you can tell me what you think 12 to 13, what would that kind of a jump look like? So I define a trip in Manhattan as a trip from between 1 to 3 miles, usually lasting between 15 to 25 to maybe 30 minutes. That's one trip. Version 11 would complete exactly 0% of these trips. I could probably be lucky or thankful if version 11 could go 1 minute driving a medium degree of difficulty route here in Manhattan. It wouldn't even be able to drive a minute without me taking over for it. Now, in version 12, we go from 0% in version 11 to now maybe 50 to 60% of my trips I would be able to sit back and relax from origin to destination. So 0% to 50 to 60% of trips completable with zero intervention. I think that's pretty incredible progress from version 11 to version 12. So then the question is, what's next? What's version 13? I know they're working on 12.3.4, or no, I'm sorry, 12.4. And then I believe Elon mentioned improvements that are coming, which might be targeted more at the 1% that we're seeing here in the city of scenarios. That might be 12.5 or 12.6, right? So let's just imagine that if I go from 50 to 60% perfection, so, or turn it around, that's 40 to 50% imperfection, 40-50% of trips that still need to address 1% scenarios. What does that mean? Maybe I can go cut that down to maybe from 40 to 50 to 20 to 30. That's a pretty great degree of improvement, right? Cut the remaining problem by half. So now 4 out of 5 of my trips, instead of 1 out of 2, would be perfect drives where I would just sit back and relax from beginning to end. That's a pretty great improvement. Maybe that's 12.5 or 12.6. So then what's 13 going to look like if it's going to be a generational bump of the level of a 0% to a 50%? As the Tesla is wobbling its way to a right turn at this intersection, trying to figure out if that parked black Tesla we just passed is parked or going to make a right turn. It guessed correctly, even though it hesitated a little bit. This is interesting because last time it did not guess correctly, and now it got itself stuck in the crosswalk at a red light. Alright, now it's green again. And here we go. Another example of how the car right now acts like somebody who hasn't really driven in the city before. All those scenarios, I could see myself making the same mistake coming as a driver say from other areas of the country, from more of a suburban driving environment to an urban driving environment, I would get flustered like that pretty easily. So this drive so far has not been intervention free. I did not have to take over, but I had to push it a number of times to get it going. So you see these pedestrians have no seeming regard, even with their kid, for crossing. Not disparaging them in any way, to be clear. Now, this is just the way pedestrians do things here. I myself walk like that, where you're just taking every spot, right? And you are kind of asserting your right of way at some points in time, just so you can, shave off those few seconds of walking. And I think the Tesla just needs to know how to adapt. It needs to know how to work with that kind of flow of traffic. So those are the more minor mistakes, right? Where it's just a matter of not being aggressive enough, but you didn't put anybody in danger, didn't cause an accident. So here we are, arriving at our destination. It's trying to pull over. All right. Thank you very much.